ring if you're ready to care. Oh, let's talk power, let's talk speed. Hosted by the one and only We Too Deep. Turn it up loud, feel the power in your seat. This is Slapping Me, yes, Slapping Me.
What is up, y'all? It's your boy We Too Deep, and we are back with another episode of the Slapping Mead Community Show. Little bit impromptu episode. Recording on a Sunday. No Patriots football this week. And with that, it's going to be a little bit not a normal discussion. In terms of just breaking down like the NFL and stuff like that. It's really just going to be two different topics. Then we'll go into the questions from the Discord, which will be fun because I haven't read the questions yet as they've been submitted. And so we're going to discuss on this episode deadline, my thoughts on the show, what I thought about the final PLE for the year for NXT, what I thought about it as we're heading into New Year's Evil. Excuse me. And then we'll still have some football news and discussion as we discuss the actual college football playoff bracket, right? And there's controversy, and I have opinions about the controversy. And then we'll go into questions from the Discord. Pretty simple episode, not a lot to really discuss. And so from there, we'll do that. Before I break down deadline, though, I want to remind everyone, this is, of course, this week's episode. We have one more planned episode for the year, and that's the end of the year review show. Me, James, and Cody next Tuesday is the plan to get that recorded and posted next Tuesday. And so with that, I haven't 100% decided because that's going to be a more, a more wrestling-centered awards type show. If I want to do another episode that week breaking down football news, I haven't decided if I wanted to do that or not. And so I'll let you all know over the next probably week, but as I break that down, if I do make that decision. And then there's one other topic before we talk about deadline, and that is the Netflix has bought Warner Brothers, and this was a big conversation piece when it happened on various different streams. A lot of the people that I saw it were more entertainment and what does this mean? Guys, I just want to put in my 2 cents on this. I don't think this goes through. This has to pass. The government has to approve Netflix buying Warner Brothers. And I promise you, the current administration will not let this pass. I would not be worried about it. Even if it does pass, though, I want to talk about this from AEW's standpoint. This affects AEW not at all, other than they lose Max. But I think they were proactive, and which is why they had the Prime deal. They could also go on Discovery Plus. For those who don't know, Warner and Discovery. So it used to be Time Warner Discovery or Warner Brothers Discovery, and Warner Brothers and Discovery broke up sometime this year, right? As two different entities. AEW is on Discovery side, right? So the sale doesn't affect them. This isn't the end of AEW. We have to be realistic with these things. And so that's really all I wanted to say. So now let's get into Deadline. We start with Oba Femi versus Ricky Saints for the NXT Championship, in a match that I thought was very good. And Oba Femi did win. I made that prediction that I just had a feeling Oba Femi was going to win. I don't know what the feeling was or why I felt it, but I just had that feeling, right, that Oba Femi was going to win the championship, and it did happen the way that I saw it happening. I'm happy with it. I am. I told you guys I thought Ricky Saints was best to fit to be on the main roster over Oba. I'm just going to be completely honest. And so I'm happy with this decision to have Oba win. I thought the match was pretty good, pretty decent. In a good way to open the show. We come into the women's Iron Survivor match, which was the biggest surprise of the night, having Kendall Gray win the match, right? Now, I will say this. The Iron Survivor matches was such a great, refreshing, taste to it, whereas the War Game, or shall we say, Boar Games match that we had last weekend on both sides were just completely flops, boring, not good. The Iron Survivor matches were really good. Excuse me. Kendall winning is a surprise. And so this leads me to think, coming into this, I picked Lola Vice, right? And then coming into this, Lola Vice was like, hey, I'm holding on. Maybe it's going to be your year. You're going to win the title. You'll have a run, and then you'll go main roster. Coming out of this Iron Survivor, my feeling on Lola Vice is back to being, she's on Jada Parker's sort of whatever's going on, right? I feel the same about Jada Parker as I do about Lola Vice. They thick. They got some big assets, if you know what I mean, on the back end. And that's about all that really matters about them, right? I don't necessarily think that there's anything special from a character or in-ring perspective about Jada Parker and about Lola Vice. With that being said, Kendall Gray is the future of the division. My fear is they're pushing her too early. I'll be honest with you. That's my fear. But I also think this is a safe play, because you can have her go into New Year's Evil, lose, set up some sort of story, right? Maybe have someone attack her, potentially like Elaine Reed or something, right? And create a story between those two. Maybe, it appears we're continuing Kalani and Jordan Grace. Obviously, we're going to get Solruka and Zarya feuding. So Lola may have a feud, may be the runner, the front runner to still be in contention for the title after New Year's Evil. And so who knows, right? It's a smart play. I like it. I'm interested to see where we're going. Right? So, and then what I like about the Iron Survivor gimmick is, now the problem is it's going to get tiring after several years of it. But of this show, right, to have it tied with, 30 seconds to go, and you're sitting on the edge of your seat who's going to do this, right? And then Kendall Gray ends up getting it. And right now they played the same kind of story in the men's. And so we're going to go out of order for a minute, even though this was the main event, right? We'll talk about the men's because they kind of run the same sort of gimmick with it. To the point of entrant number 2 in both matches wins the match, right? Kendall Gray was number 2. Javon Evans was number 2, and they kind of win the same way. 5-way tie, last second pin, ends the match, right? And so, not that both matches were the same, it was just sort of the finishes, and in that it felt like it was like, hey, we wrote this once, let's just do it for both matches. See who does it best. I don't know if that was the idea or whatnot, but the matches were fine. The men's I wasn't as much into. as I was the women's, but mostly because I think Javon Evans was the easy pick. I know I picked Miles Bourne, but part of me was sitting there thinking, well, they're doing stuff with Slater and Javon. There's no way they let Javon win. But I also went into on the assumption of my pick of Obafemi was probably an overreach, and Ricky Sainz is going to win, and he plays a babyface character, so I need like a more edgy heel character, which in the match would have been Miles Bourne, right? And so, but with Oba winning, having Javon win makes sense, right? Now, so what that leads us with is the two middle of the card matches. Ethan Page versus Mr. Iguana was such a fun match, right? It's just, Mr. Iguana's a fun character, a fun asset to the roster that, it's easy to cheer for. And then you have like the serious Ethan Page, which I thoroughly stand by this, that Ethan Page is the best. I said this last episode. Ethan Page is the best wrestler on the planet right now. The best wrestler, right? He just is the prototype of what I think I want in a pro wrestler, right? He's good with his gimmick work. He's good in the ring. He's good on the promos. He makes you feel emotion. And that's exactly what you want. Right, but even as a heel, like for me, he's easy to cheer for because, right. But he's also very easy to boo if he's against someone that's a babyface that you like, right? He's also very easy to boo, right? But I do think Ethan Page is the best wrestler on the planet right now. And then that leaves us with Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame. And I'm going to be honest with you. This match was the only match I really didn't care for, which is sad because I thought it had a lot of potential. Right? I thought it had a lot of potential to being something that was good. Ultimately, I'm a little bit. I think what really took me out of it was the finish. The match itself was fine, and I'm fine with you building the sort of psychological thriller type story with Tater's character. But I just wasn't really a big fan of the finish. Having Nico and Sean Spears grab the dolls and rip the head off, and then immediately that turns into Tatum getting in the ring and then essentially having, what's it called? Dame Over is the name of her finisher, which is okay. It's kind of corny, but it's an okay name. I just felt like it was a little bit anticlimactic of a finish. It felt a little bit rushed to me. I would have loved, now with that being said, the story is fine. I'm just not the biggest fan of the result of the match. But the story is 100% interesting, right? Ultimately Tatum's going to come out ahead. That's sort of how these stories finish. So my question is I still am leaning in the direction of she's getting two male counterparts to counteract Nico and Sean Spears. I really want it to be Shiloh Hill. Was that his name? Silas Hill? Shiloh Hill? I don't know. His little promo that he had was the last few weeks are kind of interesting, and I'm interested to see where this character goes. And I kind of want to pair it with Tatum Paxley, right? I don't know who the other male could be. Maybe they have someone down there that could fit the mold, but we'll see. Overall, though, Deadline was a very, very good event. I wouldn't say PLE of the year. Like my awards have been pretty much locked in stone for a while. I think even still with how good it was. I felt like it was just business as usual, nothing too exciting, nothing too risky. But it just goes to show how good NXT's roster is, that you could just do business as usual and still put on an 8 out of 10 show, right? Whereas main roster WWE, it feels like they constantly are just putting on like 4 out of 10 shows, and so there's that. So with that, let's move on to the realm of college football. Now, on the last episode, I gave you like what could happen on Selection Sunday. And now what I'm going to give you as we discuss it is what actually happened. And so here's what happened, right? Alabama lost the conference title. They get moved. They get kept at the same position at number 9. Right? All the magical things that needed to happen for 2 group of 5 conference championships to get in, which would have been Duke winning the ACC championship game. That happened, right? All the magical things happened. BYU lost, Alabama lost, and Virginia lost to Duke, and so we have Tulane and JMU, James Madison University, in the playoffs, right? Now, though, and I start with them because the controversy there is everyone's saying, well, these 2 teams shouldn't be here. And I just thoroughly disagree, right? My argument for my disagreement for everyone who says they shouldn't be here is if they're not allowed to compete for a national championship, what is the point of them even playing the season, right? If they shouldn't be there because they play in a weaker conference and they're considered a weaker team, then what is the point of spring training, right? Everyone, whether you play for Alabama, Ohio State, James Madison, BYU, excuse me, Texas El Paso, like everyone comes in on spring workouts, spring game, and everyone's season is, hey, we're going to play the best we can. We want to make the playoffs. I feel that's how you have to think about it, right? And so JMU comes in. We have to win the Sun Belt. It's conference championship or bust, and then hope that there's a myriad of things that happen that could get us in the playoffs. And those things happened. I can't be mad at JMU, right? Because the way the rules are written, are your top 5 ranked conference champions get auto bids. That's on the system. Like, we can't be mad at JMU. Like, there's really just one thing that I'm upset with as far as who's allowed in the bracket, and that is, why is Alabama allowed in the tournament? Everyone's upset Notre Dame didn't get in, and I thoroughly understand it. Here's my issue with that. Notre Dame has known since the playoffs started a decade ago. The rule has been the same, whether it was 4 teams or now that it's expanded to 12. The rule has always been the same with Notre Dame. As long as they decided they don't want to be in a conference, the rule has been you must win all your games. That's always been the rule. It's not written, but it's one of those unspoken rules that Notre Dame should have figured out, that you have to go 11-1 or better. You have to go 11-1 or 12-0 in order to make the playoffs. You're not guaranteed 2 losses, especially if you're going to lose to one of the top teams in the country, in a Miami, right? Now, thoroughly, I believe if Virginia would have won and got into the tournament, I don't think Miami's in there. I think what happened was, as soon as Duke won, and it was pretty obvious that Duke was not going to make the tournament, I think Miami and ACC officials got on the phones with the head of the committee and made some sort of backroom deal saying, look, the ACC is a major conference with major money. We cannot allow not to have a team from the ACC in the tournament. I think some sort of deal was made. There's no realistic reason why Alabama should be in here. That's the team I have a problem with. Notre Dame, if you have a problem, don't blame Miami. They deserve to be in over you because they beat you. And you don't have a conference. Like, that's always been the rule, right? That's the rule. But my issue isn't Miami. My issue is Alabama. My issue is Alabama. You're a 3-loss team. Granted, one of your losses was in the conference championship against the number 3 team in the country. I get it. But with it, you played like absolute crap in that game. And Georgia's not some powerhouse, right? They're far from being the best team in college football, right? They're a good team. I just don't think that they're a superpower. I think Georgia's very beatable. I do. Right? And so they beat them the first time. In the conference championship, Alabama loses. They lose to who was their second loss to? I know one of them was to Florida State. And that is the one that, to me, just like, you can't excuse that. And I'm sorry for saying that. You can't excuse that. And they lost to Oklahoma. Right? So you lose to Oklahoma, right? You lose to Florida State to open the season, and you get absolutely wrecked by Florida State to open the season, by the way. Like, it wasn't like you lost by like 3 or whatever, right? Of your losses, you lost 3 games by a combined like 40 points. You didn't win the conference championship, so you're not a guarantee in. And when you look at the resume of the other teams, you get a team like Notre Dame who lost 2 games, A&M and Miami, by a combined 4 points. I don't see the resume of Alabama and sit here and say, oh, this is a team that should be in the playoffs. Barely escaped Auburn. Right? Barely escaped Auburn. Barely escaped South Carolina. Barely escaped Missouri. Okay, I can give you beat Georgia. I can give it you beat Vanderbilt. Right? But Notre Dame had the largest average of defeat for the season. I think they averaged 30-point victories for 10 straight games. Right? Notre Dame should be more upset that Alabama is in than that Miami is in. And that's where my controversy is that a 3-loss SEC team is going to get a privilege that no other... Now, I'll say this. I think the Big Ten can get this privilege. I think an Ohio State, a Michigan, a Penn State, a USC, and Oregon, I think if they were 3 losses in this situation... I think that the Big Ten will also get this kind of bias. But what the president they sent here was 3-loss big name SEC team can get in the bracket, right? Because if the argument is, well, they shouldn't be penalized for losing the conference title, well, then what about BYU? Because BYU had 2 losses to the same Texas Tech team. Sure, both of them were blowouts, but that was it. That was their losses to the 4th-ranked team in the country 2 times. Whereas Alabama loses to Oklahoma, and they lose to a Florida State team that was pretty bad this year. And so why is BYU being mistreated and getting treated worse and getting overlooked and getting compared worse than Alabama when Alabama has a worse resume, right? And so that is where my concern is that Alabama does not deserve to be in here, right? But the SEC haters who are going to push the blame on Tulane and push the blame on James Madison, oh, well, they're going to get wrecked. Here's my issue with that. Sure, they may get wrecked. There's a very large possibility James Madison on the 20th of December in 13 days. There's a very good chance they walk into Eugene, Oregon and get the absolute boot stomped off of them. But there is a chance that they walk into Eugene, Oregon and they pull an upset. Because that's how football works. And so they did what was necessary according to the rules to make the playoffs. So why are we upset with JMU? Why are we upset with Tulane? It just makes no sense to me. Right? They did what they needed to do. They won their conference championship. If conference championship games have no purpose, get rid of them. And if we're not going to punish losers of that, because here's what the narrative now is. Well, we played an extra game. We shouldn't be punished for it. No, you lost. So this goes down to like seeding. Ohio State should not be 2. They lost their conference championship game. They should, now granted, they should get a bye. They should be number 4. 100%. But Georgia won their conference title game. And they didn't move up. Texas Tech won their conference title game, and they didn't move up. Ohio State loses their conference title game, and they just flip-flop with the team they lost to. Right? Ohio State should be ranked 4th, not 2. Right? Because there needs to be a risk in the play, right? And if you're not going to punish losing conference championship games, then stop playing them. This is why I believe a 32-team system where the 10 regular season winners of each conference, there's 10 conferences, that each conference regular season winner is an auto bid. You don't have conference championship games. The first week of December is when you start the playoffs. Right? And it's no committee. No committee. It's your 10 conference championships as auto bids. And the next 22 best teams as determined by the AP poll. That is how I would rank and run the system. No committee, no computer analytics, the AP poll. Because the AP poll came out. Notre Dame's ranked 9th in the AP poll, which is where they should be. They're, right? BYU and Notre Dame are ranked higher than Alabama, I believe, in the AP. Maybe, no, I think it's Notre Dame and Miami. Notre Dame and Miami are ranked higher than Alabama in the AP poll, which is the way it should be in the playoff poll, right? Bama shouldn't be in. Miami should be, but so should Notre Dame. But no one's going to blame it on Alabama because there's that SEC bias. Inherent SEC bias. Right? And so that's sort of where I stand, right? You have two solutions. Or two ways to fix. You have two ways to fix this issue. Right? You can either do what I've already laid out, 32-team playoff. Don't go to 16 and then realize that 16 is not going to work, and then try to do 24 and then realize that, that may work, but it's not the best. Just jump. Actually, I'll say this. I'd be fine with 24. The reason I say 32 is because I don't like bye weeks. But I'd be fine with 24. Again, your 10 conference winners and your next 14 best teams. I would compromise to 24 teams. That's how they do FCS playoffs, and it works. No one ever complains about it. So I would compromise and say, hey, let's do 24 teams rather than 32. I just say 32 because I don't like bye weeks. And I like the idea of having a March Madness style college football tournament. And if that's not what you want, the only other solution then is to have separate leagues. Because if you're going to say the group of five, the Sun Belt, the CUSA, the MAC, the Mountain West, and the American Athletic Conference, if the group of five conferences, if you're going to say they're not on the level of the other conferences, the power conferences, so they can't be in the playoff, then you have separate two separate leagues, because I don't think it's fair nor necessary or a good use of time. Essentially, what you're telling half of college football is your season is meaningless. That you're strapping up, you're going through the work, you want to win a natty, right? That's everyone's goal, is to win a national championship. I don't think anyone straps up on JMU and said, we'll be completely fine if we go, 10-2 in the regular season, win the Sun Belt, and nothing happens. Here's what actually happened, though. They went 11-1 and then won the conference title, and they did what they needed to do, and they were pretty good at it. They are a top 25 program. I think JMU can go to the ACC and beat 3/4 of the teams in the ACC. Right, but if you don't want to expand, and if you don't want to put all 10 conference title champions, the only other solution is two separate leagues, two different national champions, to give the group of five conference a reason to play football other than we're just playing football, right? Because it's not about equality of outcome, but it is about equality of access, right? I'm not saying JMU has to win a national championship. What I am saying is the Sun Belt should have access to having someone play, right? Again, make the conference title game mean something. And so, yeah, I just eventually what this is going to go through and will end up becoming is one of two things. Either the SEC and the Big Ten form their own league, or college football becomes a conference-less system where there are no conferences and you just schedule games against each other. And then you just put the best 12 or 16 or whatever teams in the playoffs. And honestly, I mean, I'd be fine with that system. I'll be honest with you. That'll be better than there's a lot of people saying we need to go back to the 4-team or the BCS model. And the BCS model was completely broken, by the way. Just completely, analytics it's just broken. It's a broken model. I think 24 to 32 teams, that's the sweet spot. That's where you'll find what works. I mean, you've worked this out in every other branch of football other than the FBS level. Division I FCS runs 24 teams. The Division II and Division III level, I believe, runs 24 teams. And I just don't understand why we're still trying to experiment with less than 24 teams. I'd be fine with the top 24 teams, or saying the 10 conference regular season winners, or even the 10 conference championship game winners, and then the next 14 best teams. I think that'll be fine. I'd be 100% okay with that. I would be 100% okay with that situation. Excuse me. But with that, not much more really to say about it. Let's go to these questions. Let's start up here. Kara asks, what do you think of the John Cena lawsuit going on right now? I'm not very up to date with it. From my understanding is essentially an old musician's family is suing John Cena and the WWE, TKO, and some other people for using the horns in his theme music that was sampled from this woman's father's music, but he made a remix, or he used it as a cover of a, and then he added the horns and copyrights. Here's my opinion. I really don't care. It doesn't at the end of the day hurt my feelings or affect me in any way. What will happen if I had to make a guess is they will settle out of court in like 3 years. Like this thing will probably drag on. They'll settle out of court. You kind of have to prove that they intentionally, maliciously stole the music. They don't sound exactly the same. You also have to prove that individual seconds of and segments of songs are able to be copywritten. And so I just it's one of the cases where I'm not a lawyer. I don't I don't know all the details. I don't know how this could go, and I really don't have an opinion on it. I think it's just hoopla. At the end of the day, that's just how I feel about it. They're gonna settle out of court is what I am kind of expecting to happen. And so I don't think there should be any hate towards John Cena for this. This happens very often in the music industry anyway. They already sort of settled once for this same situation. This just feels like a money grab to me, to be honest with you. Kara then asked, rank the following foods, styles: Chinese, Italian, Mexican, French, American, and Japanese. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 styles. So here's what I'll do. We'll go ahead and give you 6 and 5. 6 is Japanese, and 5 is French, and they're reversible. Like, they could be either. Like, I don't like French cooking. I don't like Japanese style cuisine either. And so that leaves American, Mexican, Italian, and Chinese. So 4th would be Italian. Now, here's mainly why. Now, I love pasta. I love pizza and spaghetti. I love like pasta and stuff. I'm not a big fan of like red sauce. Like of these 4, like these first off, the remaining 4 are my 4 favorite styles of food. But I would have to rank Italian the lowest, mainly because I'm not a big tomato sauce fan. Like, I'm not a big fan of red sauce and tomatoes in my food. I don't know. It's just not, like, it's also not something that I crave all the time, right? Whereas, now, 3 would be American, and that's because American cuisine is super broad. It's super generic. Like, we're talking like hamburgers, hot dogs. Right? I don't know. I just feel like American style food takes styles of food from other places and just Americanizes them. So I don't really necessarily know, like, what would we consider American food. But they would be ranked 3rd. The barbecue would be American. American, again, depends on the region of the country you're in as well. So burgers, hot dogs, fries. Your like American style pizza, I would, right? And like again, so it's taking like like pizza's traditionally Italian, but American style pizza. Again, which is why, so like I like pizza, but I like New York style pizza. I don't like Italian style pizza. Right? Italian style pizza is very different than American, what we consider pizza, right? So like I'm not a big fan of like traditional Italian food. Excuse me. And so 2 would be Chinese, but again, it's the American version Chinese food, like Panda Express, right? That's not traditional Chinese food. But I do like me some like beef and broccoli or pork and broccoli. Orange chicken, which is a completely an American dish. It's not even from China. Panda Express made it in like the 80s, but orange chicken's good. Yeah, but again, it's the American version of Chinese food. So I might actually have to change my ranking. Chinese 3rd, American 2, but Mexican, and I'll say this, Hispanic food. Because not just Mexican, but like all Hispanic food is delicious. They're number 1 without a doubt. Absolutely. Okay. She then said, objectively, if you played basketball, which, by the way, that was my sport growing up. I didn't play football. I played basketball. Objectively, if you played basketball, based on how you play, even if you're ass, and an NBA team has to draft you, who do you think will draft me? I don't even know if this my style of play fits in the NBA anymore. So I grew up playing center. I was always the tallest person in the league. Growing up, and so I always played center or power forward, but the generation I came up in playing basketball, your center and your power forward did one of 2 things. You set a pick, or you were a rebounder. Like I'm not a scorer, right? I play anywhere between 1 to 10 feet from the rim. I can't shoot a 3 to save my life. I'm also bad at the position because I can't dunk because I'm white and can't jump. But like so, especially like the way I play, my skill set is not finishing. I'm a facilitator, right? And so I'm either like. I was basically used when I played basketball. I was basically used to set picks and to facilitate back to the guard, right? And it basically clear space to where we had an opening where either the small forward or one of the guards were wide open, either through a pick or they would one of the plays, the team that I played on, we would run a lot was I would be on the block, I'd be posted up, they would pass me the ball, and then my brother would be he played the other side of me. So I typically played center, he played power forward. So they would give me the ball or they would give him the ball, and then the other one of us would come and set a pick and roll, and we either I did a bunch of facilitating. I wasn't doing a lot of scoring, right? And I wasn't the best at defense. Like defensively, again, it was really just stay in a position to where you could get a rebound. We don't need you to block. We don't need you to play great defense. Just grab rebounds, essentially. So I was a rebounder. I was a facilitator on offense. I wasn't a finisher. And so I don't know if my skill set is even needed in the NBA at the moment, because the traditional centers now, your normal centers, play 30, 35 feet from the basket. So with my skill set, though, I would say maybe something like the Warriors who run a really heavy motion offense where they do a lot of screens. That would probably fit me the best with some high posts and stuff like that. And so they love the unselfish sort of bigs like Draymond and stuff like that, right? I think maybe them. maybe something where I could play like coming off the bench for the Kings behind Sabonis, where I could play like back up to him, where everything runs from the center position there. I don't pay attention to a lot of the NBA though, so maybe even something like the Pacers again, where all I would really be needed. They're a fast-paced offense, and so they need a big who could set screens, right? So I don't know. I even think something like Boston, because Boston runs a really big like motion set. Where they require a lot of, their bigs to do a lot of screening. And I think Boston might even be like the perfect fit, because their entire offense is sort of built on the screens, the handoffs, pick and rolls. I mean, think of someone like Horford, Porzingis. They love that. They love those type of players. I think that would even be like let's say I was in the NBA draft this year. Porzingis is almost done. Luke Cornett's not as sort of a role player. Al Horford's almost in his 40s, so they would need a center to fill that role. I'm definitely not an NBA caliber player though, and Boston's their scoring is Jalen, Tatum, really their guards and their forwards are their scorers. So it doesn't require like a big scoring center, right? Now they like a center who can shoot. And I think that's a skill that I could potentially play into. But it was never something I needed, right? Yeah. So that's a little fun question there. Problem with that now is I haven't grown since 9th grade, and I'm 6'3", so a 6'3" center just wouldn't work. It's kind of the reason why I didn't play high school basketball, was because I walked in the high school as like 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", depending on who you asked, and couldn't shoot, couldn't really dribble, because again, I didn't dribble the ball. Like I literally got past the ball in the post, and I had 3 seconds. I either turned around and put up a layup from 3 feet out, or I passed the ball back out and reset the play. That was what I did. Right. It was facilitate or finish, right? And more than likely, I was facilitating, because I wasn't a good finisher. I'll just be honest. I wasn't a good ball player, right? I was probably the best of my team. My team was pretty bad. I always played on the worst teams in the leagues that I played in. But right, and so, yeah, we'll go with Boston. Maybe the Warriors, right? B-Master asked, what country has the best food? I'm gonna go with America, because that's the only country whose cuisine, like even when I was in Romania, we ate American style food. I'm just gonna go with America, because everyone comes here to, I don't know, I haven't experienced authentic food from any other country, so I think I would be a really bad part. Like, so for example, like Jamaican food here, unless it's the dude just got off the boat from the island, like I don't think you're getting authentic Jamaican. Maybe I'm just wrong. I'm not in that area. There's not a lot of Jamaicans where I live, right? So I could be wrong. I'm not personally a big fan of like Indian or Asian cuisine. I only like Chinese food, because the American version. That, right? But I'm not a big fan of Asian, whether it's Japanese, Korean, authentic Chinese, or we're talking like West Asia with like Pakistan, India, stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of that style. Like the Middle Eastern food, I'm not a big fan of. And I don't know. I would say America. It would be my answer. For some reason, Kara is kidnapping me. And I wake up in her underground fight club. I'm not supposed to tell you where that location is because the rule of Fight Club is not to talk about Fight Club. So I don't know what this question. No, I'm kidding. You have to choose your opponent between the four following things: Brock Lesnar with his hands cuffed behind his back, Conor McGregor with his legs tied together, Ridge Holland and Nia Jax together, and Beemaster with a taser. I'm going to get hurt no matter what I choose. I think just because this would be kind of fun. Ridge Holland and Nia Jax together. I don't know how that fight will look, but we'll just choose that just to be fun. Plus, all the other ones are like Beemaster has an unfair thing with a taser. Tasers are no fun. Brock Lesnar being handcuffed is that's not fair to him, and Conor McGregor with his legs tied together. Is Conor a leg guy? Like I always thought Conor was a punch guy. I don't know. Maybe I just don't recall his fights all that much. I don't know. I still think Conor McGregor can beat the shit out of me with his legs tied together. I think Brock Lesnar could. I mean, he couldn't really do much with his hands cuffed behind his back, but I feel like he could truck me over a time or two. We'll go Ridge Holland and Nia Jax. Beemaster says you have 24 hours to live before you die, and you have unlimited money. What are you doing? So I wouldn't do so here. I think a lot of people hear this question and they think, "Oh, I'm going to go buy everything that I want." Right? I have unlimited money. I'm just going to do everything that I want that I've ever wanted to do. You go buy the fancy car, but I got 24 hours. Like I don't think buying a house is worth the hassle to go through. I don't think buying a car is worth the hassle to go through. I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is gonna sound like a cop-out answer, but it's literally the first thing that came to my head. I would use the money to give back to the people who helped me the most in life, right? Hey, I got unlimited money supply. How much do you need that'll make you better off, right? Pay my mom and dad's bills off. Get my brothers out of debt. I got two, Cody and a couple other friends that have been there for me. Right, and then some charities that I support that I would give the money away 100%. Like there would be nothing in that 24-hour period of time that I could do that would make me feel better going out than to say, well, I spent the last day of my life returning the favor and paying off all the people who took care of me during life, right? And that includes my listener. That includes like, hey, Kara, I got 24 hours left. What can I give you that'll hey, how can I give you $1 million? Right? I don't know if I'd give you that much. Because can I talk about this for a second? This is the thing that I sort of realize is that if I gave, now I don't know Kara on a personal level, right? So I'm not saying this about her. I don't know how she spends money, if she's frugal or if she's responsible. I'm assuming she's responsible, that if I gave her $1 million, she wouldn't go and like tear her life apart. But there are people who will do that, hey, here's $1 million, and they go buy every single street drug, or, they'll go, buy some stupid stuff that end up killing them or whatever, right? And so I don't know. I would be like, hey, here's $100,000, right? And even that's a lot of money, and I'm right. But it would be one of those things where, hey, B Master, you're the number one listener of the show, according to Spotify. For that support, what can I do to help your family out, right? I'm a be gone in 24 hours. Can I give you, I have unlimited money. Excuse me. I have unlimited money. Can I give you 100,000? Right. I probably wouldn't lead off with I have unlimited money, because if I tell you, hey, I have unlimited money, and then here's 100K, well, why can't I get 200? Right. So I'd probably say, hey, man, I got 24 hours left. Can I give you 100K for your support or whatever? Right. Give back to charities. I would definitely try to go out on a way that would make the world a better place. Kara says, you are the NFL commissioner. You get to fire anyone and everyone in the league, even the owners. Who are you firing? Jerry Jones. I would force the sale of the Cowboys. I would. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm pretty certain the entire front office of the NFL, the entire league office is gone. I'm gonna, if I come in and I can be commissioner and I'm allowed to do whatever I want, essentially, I'm putting in some people that will run the league in the way that I want the league to be run, right? So, I don't know if I'd fire any of the owners other than Jerry, but yeah. So there's that, and then we'll end the show with B Master's final question. We got a male and a female example here. Retire one, push one, have one become a coach at the PC. For the males, it's Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Punk. We'll retire Brock Lesnar. We'll push Roman again, and we'll have CM Punk become a coach. It's kind of what I thought CM Punk's role was slowly transitioning into when he first got there. All right, and then for the women is Charlotte, Asuka, Bayley. Retire Asuka, push Charlotte, and Bayley. I think Bayley would make a great trainer. I don't think Charlotte Flair would be all that good of a trainer. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think Bayley would be the best of the trainers, 100%. Yeah, so that's that episode. Next episode next week on the 16th. Will be the live. I don't know. It might be a live stream. I know I promised maybe a live stream. It might be. I don't know. But it will be the Slappy Awards, Slap and Meet Community Wrestling End of the Year Awards. Me, James, and Cody. Next Tuesday is when that'll be recorded. If it's a live stream, I'll let you all know the day of. On how to watch live. It'll be at 9 p.m. probably around that time if it is a live stream. If not, we'll probably just record it and move on from there. But with that being said, I am way too deep. This has been another episode of the Slapping Meat Community Show. Thank you all for tuning in, and until the next time I see y'all, have a great rest of your week.
So hit that subscribe, come along for the ride. Whether it's NXT or NFL time, going in the ropes and forth and deep. Slapping Meat Community every Tuesday. Every Tuesday.